James Gallo talking with Moose Jaw Warriors captain Denton Mateychuk, who has rewritten the Moose Jaw Warriors history books as he goes into the final week of the regular season with 214 points. He has surpassed Nathan Page as the all-time leading scorer by a Moose Jaw Warriors defenseman. And Denton, first off, congratulations on the accomplishment. I know it's been a couple of days since you broke that record. I'm sure you've had time to reflect. And when you have, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a huge honor. I've been here my whole career, and I've really enjoyed it here. It's been, it's been a second home for me, and they've given me all the opportunities to, be the player that I am and becoming, and I've just been thankful for the organization and all that they've done for me.
This record is something that myself, Mark Smith, Jason Ripplinger, the coaching staff have talked about since the start of this season. At what point did you start hearing about and thinking that this could be a possibility?
I actually think my billet brought it up. He kind of told me, he's like, yeah, you're not that far back. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And then, it just kind of sits in the back of your mind. And then as you keep going, getting closer and closer, I think, you just kind of it gets a little bit more, in your head a little bit. And you're like, all right, well, I'm actually pretty close to doing this. And then, when it came, it was kind of surreal.
I know you're a humble guy, but when you think about 40 years of Moose Jaw Warrior defensemen, there's a lot of great defensemen. In my time, guys like Morgan Riley, Damon Hunt, Travis Hamonic. There's a long list. Josh Brook, Jet Wu. Is it hard to think that you stand on top of the pile right now, points-wise?
Yeah, it's. That's pretty crazy. There's some big names you listed off, but I've just always tried to, come here and play hockey. Not think about that side of it too much, but that's all I have to say there.
I've talked to a lot of your teammates, leading up to the record and then after the record, and I think they were just as excited as you were. And does that show how close this team is, how close that core is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, lots of milestones like that. He's hitting 100 goals, and Furky hitting 300 career points. All those things are brought up in the room, and I think that just shows how tight of a group we are. We're happy for each other, and the milestones that we set, and I think that's an awesome thing to see.
Did you think sitting back in the dorm room at the University of Regina, the hub season, that's when you guys all kind of came together, that one day you'd have all these milestones amongst that core?
Probably not, no. When can I get out here? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Kidding, but not kidding.
Yeah, kidding, but not kidding, yeah. No, it's been a treat to play with those guys my whole career, and I think back then probably didn't think about it too much, but now it's, you could see what happened throughout the years there.
Talking with Captain Denton Mateychuk, of course, the highest scoring Moose Jaw Warrior defenseman of all time. And Denton, I know, again, you're a humble guy and you like to praise your teammates. Who are some of the guys that have helped you along the way, specifically on the back end? Like for me, one that stands out is Damon Hunt. That's who you were paired up as in your 17-year-old season. Who are some other guys that have had a big impact on you?
Yeah, I think obviously start with Damon. I mean, he's a great player. Get to see him play in the National League a little bit this year, and I think just as a 16-year-old, even I stayed with him in the dorm, so I learned a lot from him. Just the way of being a pro at a pretty young age, and then playing together at 17. You learn a lot when playing with a guy of that caliber. So I think first off, him, he for sure helped me a lot in my career. And then I thought Max Warner helped me a lot, especially in this past year. He's a really good player, and learned a lot defensively from him. He's got a great stick and good skater. So I think those two guys, and also Lucas Brenton, just he's been one of my best buddies since I got here. So I think those three guys have been with since the start of my career, and couldn't have really done it without them.
Head coach Mark O'Leary and associate coach Scott King have been with you from the start. Just maybe a word on them and how they've helped you along.
Yeah, for sure. O'Leary was here when I got here. He wasn't the head coach, but shortly after he was, and learned from him over the last couple of years and learned a lot. Same with Kinger, especially with the special teams stuff, some of the skill stuff with Kinger. That's really his department of expertise, and you learn a lot just listening to his knowledge. He's been around the game for a long time, so those guys have been a huge help to my career as well.
And let's not forget Gord Burnett, of course. Gord was with you for 2.5 years now with the University of Manitoba. He worked primarily with the defense. We can't do this interview and not mention Gord.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he taught me how to box out. He's especially things like that though. He's really good at explaining those defensive things, and he was really good throughout the couple years that I was with him. And taught me a lot for sure.
A lot of support from your general manager, Jason Ripplinger, in this entire process as well, too, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's been awesome. You know, he said one of the first congrats texts I got was from him, so I gotta thank him for a lot because he's been here since I got here, and yeah, I'm really thankful for him.
Winding down with Captain Denton Mateychuk. Denton, let's go back. Point number 1. Do you remember it?
I remember it. Yeah, I was just over there actually. But yeah, second game. It was against Kelowna. I remember that. Yeah.
Second game, your first career goal, December 14th, 2018, I do believe. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, jeez. That sounds like longer ago than I
Or
thought
2019,
it was.
I believe. 2019, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that vividly. Played first game in Brandon. Wasn't our best. I think we lost 11.
We did.
11-1 or 2 or something. But we came in here and I think we lost in overtime.
Yeah.
And Korzak had 2 goals. Caden Korzak, not Ryder.
Ryder also had a big night that night as well.
Yeah.
173 assists. That's the most all-time by a Moose Jaw Warrior defenseman. Not surprising. Do you feel you've been known more of a distributor as opposed to a goal scorer?
Yeah, I mean, I think over the past couple of years, that's kind of been my thing, making a good first pass in the D zone and looking for my teammates offensively. And I think this year, I've tried to shoot the puck a little bit more, and I'll put a couple more goals in that. But yeah, I think I'm more of a pass first kind of guy.
Lastly, Denton, we talked about point 1, 213 points after that. Are there any games or points that stand out for you?
I don't know. There's been quite a few that I remember. I think probably when I was 17, we played Winnipeg, and I think I scored with like a minute left to win it. And then that was a pretty cool one. I was right at the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
There's been a couple other ones. I don't know. Probably, it wasn't even a point, but when Ferk scored against Lethbridge there, when we were in game 1, it's double overtime. That just being on the ice for that one was probably, just as cool as any of the points I had. It was that was a really awesome goal, and the crowd was going nuts, and everybody's going nuts. Finally, we could go home.
I remember the game against Winnipeg late in the season, game-winning goal, and the Warriors were short-staffed as well in that game. Eventually saw Winnipeg in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Denton, congratulations on this amazing accomplishment. Good luck to you and the Moose Jaw Warriors as you finish off the regular season and get ready for what everybody hopes is a long playoff.
Yeah, thanks, James.